Although there is a language barrier between humans and animals, acts of kindness have their own ways for communication. From unruly wild animals to incredibly dangerous domesticated animals. Here are 30 relationships between humans and animals. Tiger saves from leopard. Either it was an act of jealousy or instincts naturally kicked in as hunger got the better of him. In August 2016, a zookeeper, Eduardo Serio, from a zoo in Mexico City, was petting and playing with multiple numbers of big cats until one of them, Dharma the leopard, started to develop the idea of a quick meal. It began plotting, and soon after, it came sprinting light-footedly towards the zookeeper. Luckily, one of the tigers, Atslan, noticed the leopard's intention and stepped in to foil the attempt. No one knows whether Atslan did this out of love for its human or the fact that it realized the difference between a lifetime supply of meat against a quick meal. Emotional support gator. While this may be an odd choice for a pet, it certainly is one of a kind. Wally is a 1.5 meter long, federally licensed emotional support alligator looked after by his owner, Joey Henney.
Come here, I'll tickle you. I'll tickle you.
This alligator is quite far from the usual alligator as he loves giving kisses, cuddling, and going out for walks. Wally was first found in the wild and was rescued from Orlando, Florida, and now lives in Joey's collection of a variety of reptiles from ball pythons to bearded dragons in his Pennsylvania house. Of all the animals in his collection, he steals the show and is the favorite of all the reptiles and reptile lovers. The Lion Whisperer. While sneaking up on a cat may sound like a bad idea, this guy took it to a whole new level. Dean Schneider, who was a founder of a Swiss animal sanctuary in South Africa, who also happens to have a unique relationship with a pride of lions. The kind of relationship where these lions consider him almost like a member of their tribe, if not special enough for them to play with Schneider and even push each other aside in jealousy of his attention and affection. After all, lions are big cats, having the same body language and behavior. Man among wolves. Without passion, it is almost impossible for you to live a happy and fulfilling life. And here's the example of an ardent lover of wolves, Sean Ellis, who's been living with wolves for the past 15 years, leaving his manly life worldly, business, and even the finances aside. You know, it's not a zoo walk to live among the most violent species of the wild, but it has become a very trouble-free task for him, as he has mastered the language and behavior of wolves. One could suspect that Ellis belongs to some werewolf species, and that has become his reason to survive. Human family with tigers. The wild family has always been associated with danger and terror, but what about the other way around? Ari Borges and his family in Brazil live with 7 big cats, which he has rescued from the circus after finding them in critical health and welcoming them into the family. Together with his family, Borges learned the animal behavior and precautions they needed to take. He believes and teaches his daughter that you have to show animals respect, which is what you get back from them. One of his daughters, Uyara, became so fond of them that she taught her favorite tiger some advanced swimming. Real-life teddy bear. While polar bears may seem to be one of the most dangerous of wild animals, this one surely set a one-of-a-kind trend. Mark Dumas is a Canadian animal trainer who for years had been scouting for a young bear to play a role in the 1996 movie called Alaska. And to his luck, he got to raise this polar bear named Aggie. Ever since he was a young cub, Dumas raised him as one of his own children after transfer of ownership was agreed to. He is probably the only man in the world who can swim with this 26-year-old polar bear in the Assiniboine Park Zoo while capturing selfies and bonding like best buddies. Dog catches shark. You might have heard people applauding the loyal behavior of dogs, but have you ever run into a sight of a dog assisting in the owner's hunt? Alex Cross, while surfing on the beach for fishing along with his pet dog, threw a bait to appeal to sharks, but it was getting a little difficult for him to catch the shark as bait got stuck in the shark's mouth. The pet, who was witnessing all this laborious activity, swiftly jumps down into the water to help his master by holding the shark in its mouth and dragging it onto the land. Hippo raised by humans. While a wild hippo may not seem to be on the best of terms with an intruder, domesticating it sure brings it a long way. Jessica is a 13-year-old hippo who was found after she got separated from her mother right after birth due to severe flooding. Her human parents found her in front of their house and ever since has been raised by them. Although Jessica's human parents never kept her in captivity, Jessica has lived as part of their family for several years while she still roams around in the wild and with other hippos upstream. She often sleeps on their front porch and joins the family in the kitchen for dinner. Tickling a hyena. The human-animal relationship is mutually beneficial, as both are dependent on each other. Kevin Richardson, an animal behaviorist, spent 15 years of his life to get to know the social hierarchies and behaviors to interact with them, finally making a space among the hyena bunch. Richardson has been seen and recorded for several times while tickling the hyena, who were cackling with joy for being tickled. He said that he absolutely had the chance of getting kicked out of the way by these creatures, but he does it to show people a different side of hyenas, as well as for their and his own enrichment. Misbehaving crocodile. Although this might seem a bit too violent, according to the owner of this crocodile, it surely needed to be taught manners. Casey is a juvenile Australian pet crocodile who, after embarrassing his owner by not only blocking the pathway of his guest, but also scaring them away initially. Despite the love and attention between Casey and Kai Hansen, who happens to be the owner of a tourist lodge, he grabbed a small frying pan purposefully to discipline his pet crocodile, just as if it were a back-answering hormonal teenager. The owner hit Casey several times, which was enough to handle the situation. Zookeeper adopts leopard. Most times, humans tend to adopt animals as pets, but in this instance, this leopard adopted the human. Alexander Volkov, 30, is a zookeeper from the Penza Zoo in Penza, central Russia, who had a close and unusual bond with a leopard, Caesar, who he'd been looking out for around a year before leaving his job. Soon after he left, Caesar was left heartbroken and began missing him so much that he refused to eat and drink until Alexander returned. Under such a condition, the zoo asks Alexander to take care of Caesar, who now shares his home with the happy leopard. Kangaroo as a pet. Keeping a kangaroo as a pet is like having a mischievous little baby disturbing your territory. Kim saved an orphaned baby kangaroo, whose mother was killed by a car accident, and decided to nurse little Joey by naming it Rocky and making it a part of her family. Even Kim's son has become very absorbed into love for the pet his mother has brought into their home. The higher authorities' restriction about keeping the wild animal in captivity makes them all worried, as Kim knew that Rocky does not want to leave her family. So, she refuses to the higher authorities to give Rocky back. Boy with a huge python. It's never a good idea to keep a giant python as your house guest until and unless you are Buddhist. In Buddhism, it's believed that dreaming of snakes brings an ominous salvation, which was believed by a Cambodian mother who welcomes and nurses a 5-meter-long python just like her baby. She feels super proud to be the mother of sons who kiss, ride, wrestle, and even sleep with python. It never scares her, as she believes that giant python has been sent into her home by God for their safety and protection. The kids have developed a genuine affiliation, as much as they are not ready to lend it away, even for a while. Wild animals sharing accommodation. While most call him to be India's most unconventional zookeeper, the man believes to be running a wild animal orphanage. Prakash Amte is a zookeeper who may no longer be working at a zoo, but it's never stopped him from looking after wild animals. Ever since 1991, he has been running a recognized rescue shelter looking after the animals who lost both their parents, either by being abandoned or killed by local tribal people, from hyenas, leopards, to bears. Many locals believe that Prakash is risking his life, but Prakash senses no danger for them, as he raised them from a small age, and the animals see him like a parent. Bear Buddy. Unlike humans, a bear buddy would never forget you, no matter how hectic its life may be. While most animals only show such loving and compassionate behavior to a human who raised them, this mama bear surprised the living lights out of this woman. A woman who often spends early days of the spring in her cabin on the outskirts of Asheville City in North Carolina gets a huge black bear visitor. The bear, named Simone, brings her cubs to the lady's doorstep almost as if they were old buddies catching up after a while. The fact that she shows no hostility and trusts her with the cubs left her wondering what good deed could be the cause of this. The mama bear even closes the door while leaving. Gorilla takes human pet. A good-natured Kifu can be seen a little tired and yawning in this footage. Still, he's holding his human friend's collar in such a way that he doesn't want him to leave, even if he falls asleep. His babies join the sight, out of jealousy to grasp the attention of their father, who has brought a human as a pet. Damia Aspinall, the friend, shares that Kifu has proved itself as more friendly and trustworthy than many other human beings, and he is happy to be in his company and to be his human pet. However, it's not always fun and games if you get caressed by a gorilla, because it can turn like the rise of gorillas to overpower human beings. Hyena Men. Aside from getting along with some of the most dangerous wild animals in Africa, they actually tend to control them in a way. Hyena men are what you would call an outlaw version of a circus. They use cobras, baboons, and hyenas as animals to perform with them on their traveling circus business. The hyena men are able to make their animals perform as if they are talking to them with their thoughts, like a baboon holding a venomous snake and offering it to bystanders. In order for all of it to come into fruition, they are rumored to be using spells or potions of some kind, if not all out just magic. Dad with reptile pets. While most would call him an irresponsible parent who's putting his children's life at risk, according to him, he and his reptile pets have an unconventional bond with his children. Eric LeBlanc is the father of 3 and a reptile enthusiast who keeps a few hundred snakes and lizards as pets. Initially, he had his reptile collection of apex predators at his pet shop, which he had to move into his home due to a fire that killed some of his pets while leaving many injured. From a 6-meter-long reticulated python to some of the most poisonous lizards, LeBlanc has his children trained in handling them, which is why he has had no problem in letting his children be around them. Big ol' house cat. If a purring cat may prove to be quite stress-relieving, imagine the amplified effect of a big cat such as this. Meet Messi the Puma, who was adopted by a Russian by the name of Alexander and Maria Dmitriev. Messi had a rough childhood after he was born in captivity at a zoo in Russia, suffering from various illnesses. Then it was first decided to leave this puma into the wild, but was ruled out under its condition. This left zoo officials in deciding on euthanizing him, but with word getting out, the couple adopted the sickly cub and raised him like a house cat in their 1-bedroom apartment in Russia. Now, Messi lives and displays affection just like a regular house cat. Cheetah sibling. If you've never had a sibling that you always longed for, well, this might be an ideal alternative. A South African family decided to adopt 2 young cheetahs who grew up from their infancy along with their human counterparts. Since they spent so much time together, both the toddlers and the cheetahs started to have a bonding just like that of an actual biological sibling. The cheetahs tend to play around with them while still visiting the wilderness to exercise their hunting instincts. If you have such a spirit in the family, you don't need no gun for a hunt. Cobras protecting sleeping baby. Even if snakes are raised from infancy, they still tend to be quite lethal instinctively. The least is what makes this truly shocking to believe. Footage captured and uploaded by an unknown source shows 4 fully grown cobras who look to be guarding a sleeping baby from all 4 angles. Since the source of the footage is not known, it remains unclear if these deadly reptiles were trying to protect the baby or if there was something else going on here. Cat keeps infants safe. Cats cats may not seem to care, but instances such as these would say otherwise. A clip captured in an apartment by locals in Bucaramanga, Colombia, shows a seemingly concerned cat who's looking after a baby just as if it were playing the role of a babysitter. The loving feline can be seen removing the child's hand from the balcony railing several times consecutively. While many thought it to be irresponsible parenting, the recorder of the video clarified that the balcony was secured with a security mesh and the child was never really in any danger. Unexceptional pet chicken. A girl adopted a Boo who was being neglected because of being a Cornish cross chicken, and a misconception that they have very little life expectancy. The stressing element of lack of care has developed a heart disease in Boo before the girl adopted the depressed. Any bond is possible with any animal, so much at home with his human mom. Boo loves to spend time with his owner so much that the chicken goes with her everywhere, either on a car ride or on a stroller during her morning walk. Boo was totally spoiled by the owner since Boo loves to play with the music instrument and advanced gadgets. Shark's human best friend. A compassionate diver, Jim, has developed an exceptional relationship with a wild shark named Emma. But then, the pandemic happened and stopped him from having exquisite encounters with Emma. The diver was unaware of sharks' loving nature, seeing a shark drown down with a hook through its jaw. And to gain its trust, he rubbed his head to show affection, and then gently relieved it from the hook. The excitement of meeting your friend after so many years is beyond words, since Jim went back to meet his buddy Emma, who appears because of her ability to investigate boats and call Jim under the water. This image was sent to us by one of our subscribers. Similarly, if you ever wish to know more about an image you come across, just send it on over to us. Who knows, we might even feature it in one of our videos. This picture and video was taken by a tourist on May 8th, 2022, while visiting a small village in the Philippines. The tourist got quite terrified seeing a fully grown alligator in a river, where villagers are known to go for swims. As one of the female villagers heard the distressed tourist, she calmed him down by showing that this crocodile was actually raised by herself, and that it was friendly and safe enough to approach it. She petted the gator and gave him a treat shortly before it returned back to the wild. Dog pulls girl out of pool. Dogs, being known for their loyalty, are devoted to whomever they see as their leader. In this clip, you can observe a very touching incident of Laura Bright relaxing at the pool with her pet, while her friend jumped in the water and mocked struggling in the water as if crying for help by splashing the water around. The 1-year-old German Shepherd caught the sight of the drowning girl and, in nothing flat, jumps into the water to drag her out while grabbing hold of her ponytail in its mouth, leaving Lauren stunned. Best friend fish. Dogs are not the only animal friends of humans, because marine species are famous for their friendliest behavior towards man. Hiroyuki Arakawa, a Japanese fisherman, made a beyond belief marine friend named Yorkio. Although both share a love for the sea, Yorkio's gills make her more prone to dive freely. It's been 25 years that they're both sharing this immense bonding. One day, Arakawa found her friend carrying an injury, so he took charge of his friend's care while feeding her chunks and nursing her back to a healthy lifestyle. Nothing can break this unbreakable bond of love and friendship, neither the adversary nor the pain. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.